Good evening, everyone, and welcome to something uniquely and completely special that you wouldn't even believe. Uh, so, I'm doing today a comprehensive guide how to be a better Dracula. If you are a new player, you struggle with rules, you just played few games, and all of that, probably this may be too big of a jump for you. But watch it, subscribe, like it, comment, all of that shit. But a lot of people come to me and ask, Wucekaczek, how do you do this? How are you the best Dracula player that ever existed in the entire galaxy of human history? We want to be as great as you, or at least half as great as you. We will do anything, we'll take anything to be able to copy your skills, maybe without arrogance connected with that, but if it's necessary, we will do this. We will pay the price. No, but in all seriousness, Terminus started messaging me like few times a week lately, talking about the Dracula playstyle, asking for guides and all of that. So thanks for that. You motivated me a lot. Without you, probably it wouldn't happen. So yeah, I hope. My goal is if Terminus will watch it and will be happy about the video, for me the goal is achieved. So what is this video about? I was thinking how to do guides about Dracula. For hunters, it is fairly easy. You do item tier list, you talk about top and bottom events, you explain horses, and that information alone collected can improve hunter win rate uh, from 20% to 60%. We're happy. But for Dracula, it's not that easy. It's not like we'll say, you know what? You do combat cards tier list and strength is better than claws. It doesn't work that way. You will do maybe encounters tier list. I was thinking on that, on the encounters tier list, but it really depends what you want to play and what is your strategy, what is the situation, what is the context. Obviously, events tier list doesn't matter. Just pick, Unearthly Citrus or Darkness Returns. So I was thinking for half a week, what can I talk about? I have some talking points and I will try to talk to everything at once. How to improve Dracula gameplay. I will try to talk, not to teach you, but to show you ways how you can learn. It is daunting task, and we don't have many tools. I don't have much time to do some neat presentation, some neat stuff. If I would try to do this like a proper and clean, it would take me too much time. I would run out of time. I wouldn't be able to do it at all. So all things that we have is paint screenshot of the map. You have me, my voice, and I have my drink. I prepared Bloody Mary for me because, of course, no kidding. I prepared whiskey because I guess it will be a little bit long of a talk. If I will start being drunk at the end of the video, I hope it will be at least a little bit funny for you. So segmented guides, no good. Little bit more comprehensive approach, how to learn, what are the ways. My starting point is that I will be referring probably at the end to Assassin Dracula, to Engineer Dracula, the class definition things that I had fun with in a video like I think almost a year ago or something like that. You can check this out, or if you can find me, you can ask me where you can find it. And but this will be a little bit to the end. But I will assume that you know the rules of the game, you know the meta of the game, at least the basic meta, you know the basis of the game, the gameplay, and you're struggling to win as Dracula. You play as Dracula, you do stuff, it looks fine, and you die and you lose. You ask your opponent, maybe about tips, and they tell you, oh, I think you played well, but you lost the game, and you keep losing. And everyone thinks you're playing fine, but you keep losing. So what can we do? One of the important things in general about learning in anything, in any sport, some people will say, okay, we make fun of gaming or in general that it's not sport. Sport, you need to sweat. Sport is more about the physicality. And it is more about competing with other people. Sport is first and foremost about self-improvement. You compete with other people to test yourself and to see can you improve to beat people that you weren't able to beat. And physical sport is just one form of sport. So how do we can improve that? So we're starting when you are new vampire. New. Beautiful. You're a new vampire. You learn the game, you play the game, and you're stuck. Right? You don't know what you're doing wrong, you don't know what you can do this less. I will try to advise you to then become reckless vampire. To play risky plays or to plays that you will think that are mistakes and see what happens. To experiment and to see why mistakes are mistakes, to experience it on your skin, and then realize that some things that you thought that are mistakes aren't mistakes because you did them and you are rewarded. You did them and you realized, you know what? Maybe I was just lying to the plays I was just always doing without realizing that they're not always the best play. So go out of your comfort zone, yada yada, you know, all the coaching talk, and then we can become Dracula. Yes, 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 Dracula. Beautiful, beautiful. So all good and dandy. So like the thing, this is very at the very core nature of every sport actually. Whenever you are at the tournament environment, whenever you have that one game, one match, one or set core of the most important like valuable where result matters things, then yes, you go back to your known, to your comfortable, to what you are best with because this has the best uh, like chances for success. But whenever you are in a training environment, you have to play differently. If you want to improve, you have no choice. You have to play differently. You don't play just for the win rate. You play for learning experience. You intentionally make things that you don't make otherwise to just see what happens and just cut out paths that don't work and search for unique paths that do work. And that's how you can arrive to learn strategies. You can arrive to walking onto hunters during the day and having fun and all of that because you realize after experimenting and learning science that some things that you assumed are not working are working, and then you backtrack and try to think out why did it work? Was it luck or is there something there? So how you can improve? How we're thinking about risk? What risk are you thinking about? What are the important and core things? Let's check my notes. I did make some notes to try to be at least chaotic as possible because this is not high quality video. But okay, you know what? I recommend you to try this set of rules. First, training you usually should try to force yourself is do not be afraid of hunters when you play. Not never, obviously, because hunters can kill you, but never be afraid of 1v1 combat. Like whenever you're in a training session and you want to learn the game, experience the game, and be better at combat, be better at trail building. You may be afraid. Oh no, I'm afraid to build trail when I want to because what if hunter goes there? Don't be afraid of 1v1 combat. I'm not talking just to walk during the day over hunters because that's actually rarely good. Sometimes it is, but let's go to that later. Just don't be afraid that someone will walk on you and you will end up 1v1 combat ever. You are 1 health. You are next to Godalming with full health, fully equipped. Don't be afraid. You will lose some games. You will lose a lot of games, but then you will realize, you know what? I thought that it is no-go to not be afraid. I thought I have to run away. But there are niche scenarios. When I did it, there was 1v1 combat. I thought this is a mistake, but it worked out because Hunter was not as undersupplied, and they didn't pay attention, and it appears that the hunter had horse steak and let's say, I don't know, garlic reef because they lost a weapon to a spy they just supplied, and yeah, actually, for example, I don't know, deal damage escaped as bad, and it saved me a game, right? You might be afraid, or you have 5 health, so in your mind, you know that no one can step on you because heroic leap kills you, and you lose the game. So what are we talking about? You cannot even fight through it, right? And then you will listen to this weird advice. You will never be afraid of 1v1 combat. Hunters step on you and kill you with heroic clip, and you'll be like, Wutzekaczek, you're dumb. What you're talking about? But okay, you will blindly trust me because this is all about blind trust. No, this is about experimentation. This is science. And then you keep doing this, and then you realize, yeah, they did have heroic clip back then. But the next 2 games, they didn't have heroic clip. And then you keep playing, and then you realize that in your mind, in your emotion, in your spur of a moment, your thinking was, I have to avoid them because I lose the game 100% to heroic clip. But in fact, hunters don't have heroic clip 100% of the time. And even if they do, they don't have 100% of the time on a right hunter. And you realize that the 100% loss in your mind, maybe we start shifting into realizing that it is 30% loss. And in 70% of situations, you are not heroic clipped and you have a fight. And something can happen. You die anyway. But maybe you kill a hunter. Maybe you bite a hunter. Maybe you escape as bat. Maybe you even fang and heal over the dangerous threshold of 5 health. And the mental approach, I will lose 100%, start to building the experience. How much can this may stake? Maybe it is only 30% of I lose, and when I keep escaping and be afraid and scared, I lose more, right? And sometimes I have to take risk. Or maybe it will be 60% loss because 5 health is not much, and you don't die only to heroic leap, also plant ambush, Lucy's revenge, and all other stuff. But sometimes 60% loss is better than 90% loss, right? So this is one of the rules. Never be afraid of 1v1s because if you will also fight them, fight more and encounter more, you will learn a little bit more about what can you expect at how hunters are equipped, and also how they fight and how you can get out of dire situations. And similarly, second very similar rule, never be afraid of 2v1 fights in first 2 weeks of the game, week 1 and week 2. And then, yeah, there will be games that you will lose the game, week 2. There will be games that we will get wrecked for 10 damage, double heavenly host, and you think, oh my, a tragedy, what we will do. But maybe if you try to fight through and you realize, wait, they just used 2 heavenly hosts week 1. Okay, I'm low health, but now My soils are maturing. I'm getting my health back. I'm not as afraid of CG. Map is much more open for me. Hunters are slowed down. They need to supply because they lost their items. And something that initially can be as a scary picture in mind, how much the scary situation it is that you fight 2v1 and you're wrecked. When you play through, you realize, yeah, it costed me a lot, but costed hunters a lot. And sometimes in trying to build an experience and try to find your outs, various situation scenarios, you may work out from that. You can, sometimes it is better to have that difficult combat 2v1 in week 2 than in week 3 or 4, where you have no time to heal and hunters like batter you with even more stuff than they have in week 1 or 2. And sometimes we realize, wait, it is very early. Week 1 and week 2, 2v1, hunters don't have top-notch items. They're not so heavy on events. I can actually maybe I will guess one of the heavenly hosts, and I'm good. Maybe I'll break some weapons. Maybe I'll even damage hunters, maybe not kill them, but damage them so much that my trail starts maturing. And okay, I paid me with health, but I got 7 influence or because vampire matured, and you can work with that. It will be necessary to those two rules of not being afraid of those fights will be paramount when we'll be talking about playing Assassin Dracula and Engineer Dracula, because they have specific ways of playing that cannot be afraid, especially early. If you are afraid early, you are not able to use those tools. So this is first important point of experiment of never be afraid in these situations. And with the second point, it will build up to the third point. It is building blocks. We are building blocks. This is one building block. Not afraid. Beautiful. It couldn't be better. Top-notch presentation. Second point is to be deductive. Dead. Beautiful. If you deduct hunters well, they will be dead. That's the poetry here. Beautiful. Couldn't be better. What do I mean by that? This is deductive game. Okay. Don't be afraid, but be deductive. Yes. This is a deductive game, not only for hunters, but also to Dracula. I recommend you to track hunter's strength. What do I mean? Don't be always afraid of hunters in a sense that, oh no, they can bury me under the weight of events with their top-notch items, catch me with horses and I'm dead. What is necessary is to track hunter strength, because sometimes they can do this and then you have to adjust, because if you'll be too courage in that situations, okay, you will lose the game, and sometimes it is better to just avoid and hope for the best. But you need to take opportunities and notice when hunters are not at peak strength and abuse that. Because being a Dracula is being a big abuser. So there are important parts of a hunter's gameplay: items, events, and movement. And hunters start with each in each of these departments with 0. Complete null. And they start building that strength. And when possible, you should track that. First part, items. Not only take notes when hunter reveals an item, because this is already too late. You have more knowledge than that. Track item discard. This is key. And I'm not saying just check what is in the discard. I am surprised myself, and you will be, whenever you will just take a physical copy of item deck or GB Philly has some nice thingies. GB Philly, tell them the nice thingies that you match that you mark stuff. What is the discarded? And when you physically track what is discarded, what mina is showing, what witch hunter shown, you will know what is unavailable to hunters and what is possible. If you will physically track that, for example, you will see, oh no, there are no bullets in the discard pile. I may be afraid of the bullets, but mina is showing rifle. There's 4 pistols discarded and 2 rifles, so there's only 1 rifle. Okay, probably some person with rifle have the bullets if there are 3 bullets kicking around, but maybe if you're not fighting mina, then maybe then they don't even have a rifle. You see 2 crucifixes discarded. Your mesmerize is automatically much better combat card, and you can start deducing which hunter has what items, whenever you see them rolling horses, whenever you see them showing stakes on searches. And sometimes when the almost entire deck is supplied of items, you have the set of items that hunters have around, and you can deduce who exactly has what. And it is really big deal because hunters may think that they're tricky, they're sneaky, they never showed you the rifle with the bullets, but you know that Mina doesn't have rifle, you know that Godalming doesn't have rifle, so who and you know Stewart is chasing you and showed and maybe never showed anything, but if someone has bullets, is the Stewart, and you can play around that. Or maybe you see all the bullets discarded, but you see crucifix kicking around, and Hunter may be laughing and being so smug that okay, I will surprise you with the crucifix, and you see that someone is carrying a crucifix, and when someone is carrying crucifix, they feel the urge to surprise you with that. But sometimes you can really deduce then who has that crucifix. And if they feel so smug about surprising you with that, you can play around that. It is extremely valuable to play with tracking items on the discard pile and shown, and watch out for hunter traits, because again, hunters think that they surprise you, but you already know that. You deduce that. It really helps you with the previous point of not being afraid. If you can deduce the hunter strength, they holding multiple horses and stakes, their combat strength is not high. Yeah, don't be afraid. Take the fights, or just move bravely through the world, because if they take fight, they're not top notch and ready to fight you. If they are full of combat items and events, yeah, then maybe that's the good time to adapt and just leave trail of some pesky hoaxes, vampires, and combat and non-combat that will eat the stakes, and they will need to fight through the rest one, right? This is the adaptability, and you can know that before hunters will show that. A lot of the things you can know that. Especially if you will see that a hunter is discarding, if you know the item tier list and you know some of your opponent preferences, and you see, oh, someone discarded a rifle, it means that they keeping in it limits the range of their hand in a sense. It means that they're holding items that are better than rifle in a sense, right? Or you see someone discarded a knife, a stake, sometimes heavenly host. It tells a lot about their item hand. Similarly, track events. Obviously, watching the Mina reveal event is mandatory, but watching discarded events that are revealed now. So if you see someone discarded a valuable event, it tells, like, similar with item, it tells that they're holding in hand more valuable stuff. Usually, for example, when hunters discard hypnosis or money trail, usually it means that they have the other event somewhere, and they, in their mind, they don't need both. Usually they don't, but it tells you a lot, right? Uh, if you see that, let's say, Mina has planned ambush and hunters were forced to discard Lucy Revenge, if Mina is not in combat, Hunter's combat power is drastically reduced. One of the scary things is that, Seward and Godalming jump you with Lucy Revenge, plant ambush, and you're pummeled. But when those events are taken away and the fight is more fair, you can survive, deal damage, and escape much easier and much more reliable. Take the count of events count, and when hunters are using events or not using events, it tell a lot. Like if hunters are using escape routes or plant ambush from surprising night fights with vampires, can tell you a lot. And with Dracula itself, right? This is also important. Let's say you're here and you're thinking, do you want to go to Sofia or do you want to go to Black Sea? Black Sea is really bad sea because it takes a lot of time. Hunters have a lot of time, you take a lot of damage. So, but it is better than dying. And you try to evaluate, if I go to 50, will I die? And you're thinking, okay, hunters are positioned. Here we can have, sense of emergency. Here we have someone here, so they can go with renewed vigor, excellent weather, and move, or with charted courage and move. And you start adding up which hunter can move, and then you need to sum up the situation. If hunters need just good horse rolls and one movement event to have a 3v1 with you, it is extremely dangerous. Maybe you can do this and put fog, but okay, this is like, I'm going maybe too much into the strategy discussion when I want to talk about evaluating hunter strength. Or maybe you can do this, maybe you can risk it, maybe not, but this is extremely dangerous if for hunters it is easy to reach here and they know that you're here somewhere, right? But if you realize that, okay, hunters need renewed vigor, excellent weather, surprising return, charted courage, and this is already 4 events, maybe even forewarned, and then you realize, wait, okay, maybe if hunters have all those events, I am dead, but hunters have like 7 or 8 events between them. One of them is Mina's revealed, and it is none of the dangerous, like hypnosis or something, in this scenario. So you see hypnosis, it is even more discouraging for going like the C route. And you realize, what are the odds that hunters have all of those events? And even if they do, they don't have anything else to close up the fight, like, Lucy Revenge, plant ambushes, maybe forewarned to take away the encounter of that. So that way, when you keep track of the events, discarded events, number of the events, you can sometimes hunters are stuck on events and you assume that if you go there you die, but sometimes hunters are really low on events and you can do more than you can do otherwise, and you can this way be more brave and win the games that otherwise you would go to the sea and give time for hunters to supply for the events that they didn't have, right? Sometimes they do and you die, but sometimes they don't and you win, and this is how you can improve your win rate overall. And this is how you sometimes need to go and check what happens. And maybe you missed some scenario. Oh, right. Sometimes this is CG is just enough, right? One event is enough. Maybe sometimes there are some different scenarios, and maybe, oh, they CG'd you, but you survived there without CG and you won the game. So experience, tracking, and all of that. Obviously, movement. Tracking movement is very important. You see which hunter is using night actions to buy tickets. The moment a hunter stops using night actions for the ticket, it means that that hunter has set up ticket economy. The moment all hunters stop using night actions events, this is a really bad sign for you. But the moment you see, but again, this is seeking for opportunity. There are three areas: items, events, and movement. And sometimes hunters in all of those areas have a good game. Probably you lose. That's the reality. But you seek the gaps in their game. Maybe they have excellent movement, but they have low number of events. Go fight them. Go make the problem. Go make for them issue to supply and get those events. Maybe they have a lot of events, but they keep like, and you see that hunters are have disproportional number of events, and but Helsing doesn't trade the events. Hunters keep discarding events, but Helsing is ticketing. Everyone is ticketing. It tells you a lot. It changes your gameplay. That being far away, it will be nightmare for hunters. Spies, it will be nightmare for hunters. If you will force them to use rails, if even losing night actions that are usually low value, it will be difficult for hunters to get back on feet because of the tickets not working. Check how horses, who's horsing, how often horses are rolling two, how often they're rolling once, all of that. If you see how hunters move and how they reach your trail, it can tell a lot, because it also can tell a lot how easily can they can reach you. And that both of those, so not being afraid and being dead, what did I mean by that? Deducing hunter strength, then you can build on that and be strategic in combat. So as com. Whenever you get those combats and if you will be not afraid, and if you will be using those strategies and that we'll be talking on later, you'll be more facing combat more, then you can, that all deduction, that all information, and that all observation whenever combat appears, implement to combat. Don't play every combat the same. If you see that it is obvious that, let's say, you are at 10 and hunter moved there intentionally, don't assume they're escaping round 1, right? They came here to fight. So don't open with mesmerize necessarily, maybe with claws, maybe with plotting, maybe with strength, maybe with fangs, or maybe with mesmerize. I don't know. It depends, right? But if yeah, and so be strategic and adaptable. If you see that, let's say, different scenario, hunter also walked up on you, but because you have a rumor here, and they were horsing, horse, bad horse, and they landed on you. If you have a rumor here and they're showing horse, maybe their second item is stake. So even if you ambush them with rats, with bodyguards, with something, and they show you one weapon, you have a good, you can have a good read, especially if there are no items, not stakes discarded, or maybe they were discarding some rifles and knives in here. You can deduce, okay, they have horse, they have a weapon. Probably the second thing is stake. I can be brave in that fight. I can just try to kill with Mina with mesmerize, or maybe even damage Godalming with claws, with extended fights, because they probably, it can vary, but they can you can try to deduce what they have and adapt your combat to that. Did they come to fight you? You can be a little bit defensive, try to break stuff. Did they move on accidentally and they're undersupplied? Maybe you can hurt them, right? So these are the building blocks of, that adaptability and sometimes being brave and what may seem as reckless. You can see in some games that I played myself or played even in a tournament year ago, where commentators and even players I played against were surprised. Oh, why did he do that? It is crazy. He can die right now. But in this specific scenario, simply hunters were spent or were weak or were not prepared for a setup. And if that was a usual game, hunters would be able to unleash unholy amount of events and just kill Dracula. But in this specific scenario, my read and deduction was that hunters don't have the best items because I saw them. Hunters are low on events and they also spend some. So yeah, I can be brave and either hunters need to avoid me or if they try to fight me, they pay price higher than they expected. So that's the thing. So this is very important because that way it's not like I give you information and you stick to the information. You build your own experience. And whoops, this is not R. This should be P. You build your own experience and you build your feeling of the game. This is quite important to have a feeling. What is a weak position? What is a strong position? Whenever you will be interested in some sports and how experienced, high proficient masters in some games talk, they sometimes feel that it's not always that they see the all possibilities at once. It's just they have built so much experience with different bad losses, heroic victories, and all of that, that they feel that this specific scenario is weak. And if they stop and think about this, it will help them to list why exactly. But they don't need to, because the experience of different scenarios, which is very important to have different experiences, help them to feel which position is weak and strong, and that really speeds up decision making and helps to think about the advanced things and not about the basic stuff. So this is very important to build experience, but also to you have first diverse experience, you have different scenarios that you live through, but don't just take it in, because our evolutionary brains are really bad about this. Usually, our brains are about result oriented. I did something, I lost the game, it means it is bad. No, sometimes you do a good play that has 90% of chance of victory, but you're in that you happen to be in the 10% chance that you lost, but it was a good play. So it is re-evaluation. Okay, something. Okay, top notch presentation. We have what we have. We have to work with that. Hunters are OP, and we also have to work with that. So you know. So you need to reevaluate. Okay, in this scenario, I went here and I lost the game because hunters had exactly renewed vigor, charted courage, sense of emergency, and excellent weather, and they even had the forewarned, and they spent their surprising return to search for me to check for sure if I hid here or did I move. And you realize this is all of their events, and the list of the events is exactly what they needed to win the game here. If there was no renewed vigor or no sense of no surprising return, maybe one movement card less, and it will be good 2v1 for you, but it turned out to be bad 3v1, and this is a huge deal between 2v1 and 3v1. Or maybe if they didn't have forewarned, like they needed all of the pieces that they had to win. Happens. Bad luck. It doesn't mean it probably was still a good move because majority of the game they wouldn't have all the events, right? So this is important to build the experience, but then be able to reevaluate. Was I rewarded because it was a good play, or because I was lucky, or my opponent made a mistake? Was I punished because it was bad luck, or because it was a bad decision? Sometimes you think like, oh, hunters need so much to win there, but then something happens and you realize, oh, I didn't consider that scenario. Yeah, and that was actually quite high probability, and that's why I lost, right? So don't be result oriented, be strategy oriented. Try after the situation, evaluate. You don't need to put exact percentages. It sounds really smart when you put like, oh, this is 20%, but no one knows that. People that say that just only try to bloat their weak ego, and no one really knows the exit percentages. It's just about more or less, this was very likely, this was very unlikely. So why did that happen? Okay. A lot of general stuff, but we're so okay. We are 40 minutes in, and we start talking about Fear of Dracula. Great, great, awesome. I want to talk specifically. Actually, Terminus asked me also about specifically Assassin and Engineers, Dracula. And yes, I think these are the valid points. These are necessary tools to bring counter Dracula win rate from, let's say, 30% against experienced hunters to about 50%. Probably it will never be at 50%, but to bring much closer. What is Engineer Dracula and Assassin Dracula? And this is quite interesting because there is a reason to be talking about both of them at the same time. Not at the same time because I have one voice, but one after the other. First of all, Engineer Dracula is someone, a strategy when you assume my plan is to build layers in week 2. My plan is to build in such a way that I'm going probably as soon as possible, maybe with only a small delay, and build layers. And this is obviously dangerous because hunters know where you are exactly, not just area, not okay here or here. They often know the exact spot where you are, and if they can evaluate that they can kill you, then you lost the game because they are not firing blindly. They are just pinpointing you and killing you. But yeah, actually, you know what? I will summarize them in together because Assassin Dracula is someone who has specific plan. You sit up, you see your hand, and you say, you know what? I will try to kill a hunter week 1 or week 2. And this is my plan. I will prepare for that. And again, this is dangerous because if you want to kill a hunter, you probably need to fight them hand to hand or like close to rifle. No, better close to strength to knife. Oh yeah, that's a good scenario. And you need to fight them and you need to kill them. You expose yourself, you expose your health, you expose your position. You spend your trail. And if hunters can respond to that, they may be able to kill you and win the game. But again, both Engineer and Assassin Dracula have very unique but quite similar advantages. First of all, this is very unusual gameplay. This is not something very common. So hunters sometimes don't know what to do that and how to answer to that. What is proper and improper. And when you build the experience and when you will have those tries and fails, sometimes you will know better than hunters what they should do and see what they're doing improper and take advantage of that. Also, what is very unique for Assassin and Engineer is they don't care about being revealed. A lot of the time, like you have, let's say, hoax, aristocratic, and bats, and you place them on a trail and hope it matures. Oh no, they free newspaper, hunters are moving, they killing on my trail, and this is done, right? My early game is killed. But actually, Assassin wants to be revealed. Assassin wants hunters to come in. Come. Feel comfortable. For a very short period of time, you will feel comfortable, but come. Because this is how Assassin kills. Assassin hides, in a sense, waits for hunters to come, and then takes advantage of them. It's not like you can assassinate a hunter by walking onto just like that, just hunter like that, right? They need to fall into your trap. So you want, so this is flip of the game. Great. I plan to kill hunters. I'm being found. Hunters are moving toward me. My plan is working. Right? This is very unique. Similar to Engineer Dracula when you're building trails. Again, if hunters are clearing your trail, but you plan to go up their back anyway, that's not a big deal. They spent resources to clear, they moved on. So you didn't mature anything. Okay, you have lairs you can go back to. And you can double those encounters. This is a big deal. And obviously, if you plan for going back to lairs and building Assassin Dracula, and you are not revealed, I mean, that's even better, right? You can build even more nasty lairs. So in this scenario, playing Assassin or Engineer Dracula, you can rent completely useless the scouting events because you are revealed anyway. Multiple times when you even can see my gameplays, you can see that I'm playing against hunters. Hunters are supplying, they have scouts, and I have full trail of hideouts. Some of them have encounters, and hunters draw scouts, and they have nothing to scout. I'm fully revealed. All of the locations are revealed, which is obviously some type of a disadvantage, but you harness some other advantages. So this is really cool. And also, having those tools as engineer and assassin is really good for your diversity. If you always play, okay, put aristocratic with bats at the extremity, first of all, you are predictable. Hunters know that game plan. Hunters know what to do. This is a completely soft game. Sometimes you will have luck and mature. Sometimes you will have bad luck and not mature. I mean, sometimes. Usually you don't mature. Sometimes you have good luck and mature and all of that. Sometimes you don't have hoax and aristocratic or nothing to mature. And you think to yourself, oh no, that's a bad hand. But if you expand your tools to Assassin and Engineer Draculas, there are no bad hands. You can make anything out. You can make something out of anything. If you have bats, damaging encounters, and spies, great. This is nice setup to assassinate someone. If you have some only wolves, bodyguards, and no bats, but maybe some saboteurs, well, you can delay hunters and then build up some nasty big damage layers. And after a few moves, especially if you're building layers, there will come mature cards. And there will be a big, juicy hideout set up with a lot of damage stuff that when you go and you are attacked, they defend you. If they don't attack you, they can really spend hunters. So having that diversity, having that versatile tools is really good. It is and unique, which is really good. Okay, so let's start first with Engineer. Engineer, whenever you plan to build those layers early and you do so accordingly, it can be extremely fun and rewarding when playing because this is the only way of playing as Dracula that can quote unquote outscale hunters. In a sense that usually the game goes that okay, hunters are weak early but they're super powerful late and Dracula can do nothing but run away and hide. Engineer, if it works properly, this is the only time where hunters can literally sit and do nothing, just watch you. And if they stop you, they just die. And if it works, it is extremely fun. If you build those nasty layers, if you build a nasty chain of layers, and if they try to reach you, they have to pile through a number of encounters, and even if they reach you, you're sitting on 4 encounters, right? From 2 or 2. So this is really cool, obviously, but sometimes you get CG'd, sometimes you get dropped with forewarns and renewed vigors, and you need to work from that. If it is only, this is why Engineer works, because you build those trails, you build nasty layered trail in a week 1 and week 2 when hunters are the weakest. That was I did all the preparations. See how my master plan converges at this point. If you are never afraid of fighting 1v1 or 2v1 in first 2 weeks, you just watch if more than 2 hunters can reach you. If not, you build your lair trail, and yeah, you have fun. Sometimes you die, but sometimes you fight very often, and this is also a lot of fun. What do you need to be Engineer Dracula? One of the key encounters that you pay attention to is bats. Bats, in general, is as strong encounter as fog. Many people, I feel, don't realize it, but bats are so versatile in so many scenarios, and they by themselves unlock so many strategies that they literally are as strong as fog. And I wouldn't be surprised that if we had a population of a very strong and proficient Dracula players, Forewarned would be the primary tool to forewarn bats, because you get batted, you know that it is very probable that something extremely bad is happening, you just forewarned and be done with it. Bats is really good because it, for 2 reasons. It delays hunters, so it gives you time to build your lairs, but also sometimes you want to go back to a lair or to some location, and hunters want to cut you off and feel smart, and you bat them away. And yep, your path is paved open. What more, when you have lairs with encounters, batting unexpected hunters or unprepared hunters into those lairs can be very devastating. Especially, lair with 2 encounters looks nice, it's not a big deal. But a lair with a spy and bats pushed hunter into another double encounter hideout is a nightmare. And bats allow for those various combos. So also slows and matures. Slows in a sense delaying encounters, and maturing encounters are important. The big deal of building lairs is that you are threatening to mature some nasty stuff. 7-pointers, hoaxes. If there's nothing scary to mature, if there are no hoaxes and no rumor tokens, there's really not much reason for hunters to go there, right? As an engineer, you really need to build that tension of damned if you don't, damned if you do, in the sense that they cannot leave your trail, or you will have a lot of maturing power. Hoaxes, bodyguards, spies, desecrated souls, rumored vampires. And if they try to stop that, they're being battered by all of the stuff, delayed by all the stuff, also wolves, mobs along the way. Yeah, nasty stuff. And combos. Spy is really awesome because it combos basically with anything. You get any encounter and you put spy on that, awesome. Even when you not think about it, but even aristocratic, and there's a spy on top of. So hunters go, they are attacked by spy, they have to discard, for example, knife or rifle, and yeah, they're afraid to night search because it may be night vampire, fight vampire. So fighting fight vampire at night without any weapon or like with one weapon less scary. So maybe they wait for the day, or maybe they use a stake and suddenly you have naked hunter with a horse and nothing else, right? Yeah, spy is always good, and one of the important thing is to have lots of similarities when you build engineer. So what I mean, if you build a little bit of delaying trail, little bit of damage trail, uh, this is not really working that much because hunters will get damaged, they will get delayed, they have not much to do at night, so they will heal. And yeah, 2 damage here, 1 delay there, not really that big of a deal. But if they walk to one spot and they have to, let's say, and you have uh, a 2 encounter layer and you hide and you have spy, rats, and then for example bodyguards, that suddenly combos, yeah, they move on. So you ambush with spy and with rats. They take 2 damage from rats. Maybe they discarded. Usually, if hunter has 1 weapon, so if they discard to the spy, they don't have any weapon. Even if they do, they discard rifle and keep the knife. So rats can very easily deal 4 damage because then hunter searches again, and bodyguard deals another 2 or 4 damage, and hunter just lost 6 to 8 health, and they're out of commission. They cannot do anything for next few days because they need to heal up, and still they lost a weapon to spy, right? So you really need to look for those nasty combos. Aristocratics are not the best because they don't do much. And sometimes when you have, for example, saboteurs that delay, hunter can delay to saboteur and still delay and still clear aristocratic without an issue. And aristocratics don't do that much. Obviously, there are 3 aristocratics in the deck, so sometimes you have to place them. But if you start a game and you see 3 aristocratics in hand, not the best. Easy to stop, maturing, not very costly, and you want hunters to cost. Hoaxes, on the other hand, awesome because if they mature, they don't clear your trail, and the prime target to stop maturing. Funny enough, desecrated soil, not the best for the Engineer Dracula. Because usually as Engineer Dracula, you don't actively seek to be fighting. So there's not that much to be healing for. And yes, it sounds nice that, oh, I'm engineering trail. I would like to have encounters in hand. But, the moment you see that you have desecrated soil, you put it and you have to build your trail. It is by the time someone will search it, and the search will be not very costly for them, basically no cost because they're searching anyway. That's you get to rotate 3 encounters, and sometimes it may be too late, basically, right? You prefer to have something else, even rats in this situation. Rats for Engineer Dracula is prime encounter because when hunters are running around and searching, sometimes they don't have rifles or pistols. They run with heavenly hosts, knives, stakes, horses. They search it and it stays when you go back. Rats are still there. Rats are really good for Engineer Dracula. I mean, really good. That's an overstatement. They're not bad, right? You see an open hand with 3 fighter vampires. Maybe it is time to build 3 vampire capital city. Difficult to do, but even if you do something, you're building trail, for example, you put fighter vampire here, fighter vampire with a rumor, here. And sometimes this is usual for hunters. Oh, they see fighter vampire. They don't fight it, they don't kill it, because they leave it for you, because you're not going to mature it anyway. You have rumor here, right? Okay, you layer it, and then you go back here, right? And you put more fighter vampires on top of each other. So plenty, but this goes along the way with the plenty of similar encounters of similar type. Encounters. And so how do you build that nasty trail? How do you do this? Don't really ask me. Try yourself. Count spaces and decide how you can move around. So you place. I like east because one of the best spots. I mean, the best spot for building Engineer Dracula is east, because other hunters are far away, so you easily have week and a half, sometimes 2 weeks. 2 weeks is actually quite a lot of time, but yeah, you are revealed like at the end of week 1. Hunters start moving, so you have a little bit of another week, and then yeah, you have Seward here, and there are 3 hunters threatening you. Maybe one hunter is battered, so there are 2 hunters, and then you ignore them per the first rule that I was talking about, that you are not afraid of 2v1s. So yeah, and East is really good because there are a lot of multiple interconnected locations. So you just pick anywhere, pick any spot. Let's pick this spot, because why not? Let's be funny. Who will ever use Minascan day 1, right? And we count spaces. How we can go back here the same day that it goes off the trail, and check for different routes and think, you know what? Maybe let's go one of the obvious ones. You start here. This is the first. This is the one without an encounter. So you have 2 ways to go. 10 toward hunters or 56. 56 is more inconvenient. And this is also decent because for hunters, they don't know if you did some traditional, okay, I put hawks on the extremity, or do you really plan to go back here? 2. You go here. 3. Your movement is telegraphed, but you don't care that much. You care only a little bit, but your move will be telegraphed anyway if you're going back to theirs. And now, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and go back. So you don't really have that much choice. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, hide along the way, and you go back. And simply, this is how, before you even play with anyone, you plan your route. And whenever you see, oh, right, I got 3 or 3 fighter vampires as a start, decent. Or even, you know what? Yeah, I have hand like that. Okay, I will put Hawks here. I will put Aristocratic here. I will layer with Reckless. And I hope that back at the time, first of all, if Aristocratic will mature, that's awesome. I got 4 points, right? And when I clear, I don't clear my lair. If it is not, it doesn't matter. It means that Hunter's either got delayed, so I got time, or spent stake, which is excellent because I have a layering here with Fighter Vampire. And I hope that by the time I go back with layering, I will get a second Fighter Vampire to put it, and I have double Fighter Vamps. So this is one of the ways, right? What you can also do, and just you can also do, and you can just plan the routes and play and see how it goes. And one of the biggest This is the route I quite often do and did for Engineer Dracula, but the most uncomfortable thing is that whenever you are here and you did your nice and very pleasant to encounter maybe fighter vampire lair, probably a hunter is here and supplies, and they cut your route to your other lairs, which is inconvenient, pesky hunters. So what can you do? One of the things is to not care and move on them. Because this is a lair, you already have encountered here, yeah, move on them. Unless, like, Seward is here, this is Godalming, and Mina is here. Then you're stuck, right? You can do a lot of stuff, but this is a little bit inconvenient because your path is really narrow. Yes, you are fairly safe. You are not dying here. You can go here safe because you are so far away from hunters that by the time you go back, it is next to impossible. You will play a number of games and hunters will not be able to catch you here, and you have a nice double encounter lair. But one lair with 2 encounters is, let's be honest, not a big deal. So we can search for other opportunities. We can do, we start here, this is first, and then we count. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go back. Excellent. Now you can say, what's a Kachak? But what are you doing? This is the same situation because Hunter goes here and they block your move next, right? Well, not necessarily, because maybe you can hide here. If they're still keeping here, you had 2 encounters, you have 3 encounters. Do they jump you here? This is not a location with rails, so even if it's fairly late, that's not easy to get a 3v1 on you. And even if it is, you have 3 encounters, it can be scary. And then maybe you see, or maybe you see what is the situation. Both Godalming is here, Mina is here. Yeah, you know what? You just go to the open map. That is the alternative. You don't need to always 100% force this stuff. If the map is open, use it. Make hunters scared of your lairs, so they will commit to stopping you, and they will open other possibilities. If they don't, if one hunter is still there, Stewart is here, and let's say Helsinki is approaching, well, going toward them maybe not the best idea, but in this scenario, you hidden, you can wolf from here, and you have 2 lairs waiting for you that are very far away from hunters and are next to the coast, so you're fairly safe. And this is an example. What I'm doing here, I'm not giving you a hard rules how to build Engineer Dracula, but how you can think and try to find your ways. This is something that, okay, like horse economy, find the right ones, you're good to go. A few rules how to stick. This is something that you need to experiment and you need to be creative. This is why I really like playing as Dracula, because sometimes I play a game, I don't know what to do, and I have an idea that pops up and unlocks a perspective. Yes, this is very creative. And sometimes you walk on the hunter and they don't know what to do, and you go, do they stop your lairs? But they just thought that they are damaged. They run away from you, they try to fight you, and then you just start walking out around the lairs. Or maybe one of the first encounters that you put is actually bats. So hunter goes there, they trust to stop you from going back to the lair, and this is bats. And they're moved away, and you have an open path. And how they stop you with 1 hunter because the second is delayed and the other are far away. A lot of really cool opportunities. And especially as engineer, this is really what is really cool about engineer. You can build very unpredictably at the beginning, because it's not like you assume that you either mature first or second encounter, or you don't mature anything. for the entire game, you assume that if the hideout is not cleared, you get even stronger hideouts later. So you can build differently, like opening with bats. Really prime example. And a really good segue to Assassin. So this was Engineer, and this is Assassin. Opening with bats. So playing as Assassin is actually also really fun. This is really super stuff to do because you flip the game, you change from being hunted to being hunter, and you kill a hunter. Especially if you manage to kill a hunter, hunters are so disadvantaged. They lose tickets, they lose items, they lose events, they lose position, they lose time. And when you apply the rule that you are never afraid of 1v1 and that you are not afraid of 2v1s in the first 2 weeks combats, suddenly when you were around 3 hunters and one of them dies, you are around 2 hunters again and you are not afraid again. And it is really fun to not be afraid. It is much more fun to not be afraid than to be afraid. And that disruption is really important. Sometimes it can feel like, okay, I killed the hunter. Yeah, I got some points, few points, and they just here, they're supplying, they're not that far. What's the big deal? One of the things is that you just got 3 points. It is as worth as new vampire maturing, but more, because hunters lost much more and you didn't clear your trail. It is a big deal. Also, assassins actually were engineers don't really like that much aristocratic vampires because they're not that costly for hunters to clear, and are easy to clear. So you're like, okay, I put aristocratic here. If it matures, it clears all my lairs, and it is easy to stop to mature. So it is like, in a way, a lot of on the hunter's hand. Like, do they prefer for you to have the lairs or not, right? For Assassin Dracula, if you go into the brawl, if you go into the fighting and hunter is dead or extremely expanded from the fight, sometimes your trail is left alone and you get an aristocratic mature. And that can be very decent. And if you a mature aristocratic and clear a hunter, suddenly it is 7 points without use of a rumor token. And it is extremely good. So aristocratic are fairly decent, but when well placed. But actually, number one encounter, almost mandatory for Assassin Dracula to work, is bats. You are not killing a hunter just by moving onto them. During the day, you will deal at most like 4 damage. If hunter tries to fight back and you get lucky, you get 6 damage. No hunter dies from 6 damage. If they're not expanded, obviously, right? And then during the day, they can rail away and you cannot even catch them. Or just move away. And what, you're just walking around around the hunter? No. How you kill as an assassin, you build a specific trail, and whenever hunters walk to that trail to clear it, expecting, vampires' hoaxes, they're surprised it was a trap. It is not traditional Dracula, it is not Engineer Dracula, it is Assassin Dracula, and they came to clear and they're fighting for their life. Oh, right, I just realized I was talking only about East when Engineer Dracula. What do I do now? I keep the topic and I will go move to the Argent regions. Okay, whatever. So Mm, so yeah, so this is key about being assassin, that it has to be kind of hidden, hidden. Because if hunters know what to expect, they can diminish a lot of the power by preparing items, events, movement, and hunters. But luckily, assassin sometimes is indistinguishable from other type of builders, of types of Dracula, and we'll show that. So you have bots, and that's why, because you cannot kill just randomly in moving on to hunters, you don't really can hope to kill a hunter just because they moved onto you and you have encountered and fight. It can happen, especially with Mina, because or Helsing, but Helsing is usually far away, uh, and with biting Mina. But to be honest, again, uh, Mina is usually protected by the experienced hunters, and if not, they play usually safer. And if they don't, that is an opportunity. But that's why you need bots. Bots make assassin work. Basically, hunters go somewhere, try to clear your trail, bots, and they start fighting for their lives, and they're not always successful. We'll talk about it exactly in the trail building, but other encounters. Bodyguards, they are really cool assassin tool, because obviously if they search, okay, hunters take damage and review weapon, decent. But if they mature, they really extend your reach of killing hunters, because hunters escape, hunters survive. They're happy to survive on 2 health because they may have Lucy Revenge, they may have escape routes, they may have mm, great strength, and then you trigger bodyguards and they die, and they have no way to counteract that. And this is really good. I really started valuing bodyguards when I realized the value of the assassin Dracula. So yeah, you had a night fight. Uh, uh, the dream is hunters search at night for bats. You move them away onto you. You combat them. You pile them down to 2 health. They are delayed because they're moved by bats, so they cannot heal over that 2 health. Maybe Helsing trades them some plan ambush, maybe they trade them some escape route, and then the mature bodyguards stay in the same place and they kill them, and they lose all the stuff. So really, Bat's bodyguards, whenever you see starting hand with Bat's bodyguards, this is already decent start for Assassin Dracula. Obviously damage encounters, but you don't always have damage encounters, and you are driving hunters' attention onto yourself. So having like some hoax along the way or aristocratic vampire is a really good thing as a plan B. Okay, hunters survived. They maybe try to fight you. They try to shoo you away to make a hunter survive. And hoax matures or aristocratic matures, and you're like, okay, that's still decent, right? And in this scenario, in a sense, aristocratic can be better than fighter vampire, because that trail may be left alone when you're fighting and killing hunters. So there's no value in fighter vampire, like in some extremity, right? And soil, desecrated soil is really good because if you're fighting hunters and you expect and you fight to kill, not to defend yourself or trail, you are bound to take damage, and you can get hit by, heroic leap. You can get hit by Heavenly Host, buy bullets, and you have to play risky. You have to extend health. You cannot be defensive. You need to trade health if you want to kill someone. And sometimes hunters can be like, oh, great, he brought me down to 2 health, but he was dealt 6 damage, so even if I die, this is decent. And then you feed, you mature soil, and you're full health. This is extremely demoralizing and make you do some evil chuckles. I do evil chuckle a lot when I play Assassin Dracula. So funnily enough, fighter vampires are not that necessary for Assassin Dracula. When you play and you realize that fighter vampires are decent, they deal damage and give you influence, but they can be combated through, they can be escaped from, they can be killed. Sometimes in these scenarios, fighter vampires are not doing much more than wolves or mobs. And sometimes mob, as guaranteed, for example, 3 damage, is already more than a vampire combat. You get some plottings and escapes, and the hunter escapes without taking damage, and like, okay, how do I assassinate now, right? So this is funny, and this is the cool way how Assassin Dracula and Engineer Dracula supplement each other, because if you see a lot of fighter vampires, it can trigger you thinking, okay, how can I put them into lairs and pick some mega rumored lairs and guarantee me some points or get some healthy boost of points? But I don't want aristocratics. But if I see like one aristocratic and no fighter vampires and other stuff, this is really good alternative for assassin. So this is really cool in that way. And this is very important that you, as Assassin Dracula, you probably need to save fogs for later. Fogs can be decent tools to keep hunters delayed and in place and not able to escape. But if you don't have soils and if you are ready to take a lot of damage, probably you will need some fog safety later. Okay, you killed hunters and then 2 other catch you and finish you off. Not the best deal. But if you have that fog safety, it can be very important. So, okay, a lot of talk. Obviously, Spy. Spy is really good. It doesn't deal damage, but makes other encounters deal more damage, and it makes easier for you to deal damage or bite, which is also good. So how do you build trail as Assassin Dracula, and how do you play that? It is funny because we just talked about Engineer Dracula, how you start here, you go around and you loop around, and you can build really hard to reach, safe, and nasty lairs. You know what's also good? When you build the same path with Assassin Dracula. And this is really cool, how sometimes hunters don't know what they're dealing with, and how it is important to have the diverse tools, because for hunters to not be able to know just on the look how to play around that. Because, okay, one of my favorite ways of playing Assassin Dracula is, this is your starting location, the one without an encounter. You go here and you place bats. And your first encounter is bats. And this is cool because this is also an opener that we did with Engineer Dracula, one of the possible openers. So even if hunters are ambushed here of bats or search the bats, they still don't know, are they going to die? Or are you going to build some lairs? And also, you may not know, you may be adaptable. And this is very important to have early bats early, because you want to catch hunters before when they're as weaker as possible and they don't have support of other hunters. Obviously, I'm trailing on the east because this is one of the best locations for that, but we'll go to that later. And then you can put, for example, bodyguards here, desecrated soul here, and aristocratic here, and this is a prime trail that, okay, someone went to stop you, they're being batted away, you have bodyguards to finish them off, pow pow. and then you mature soils, you mature aristocratics, and this is, oh no, Dracula is maybe damaged after extensive fight or killing. Maybe we want to chase them, but then stuff is maturing, right? So as an example, and why bats here? It is important to have bats because you don't, in a location that have a lot of connections and they can circle around. And you're like prowling, right? A tiger, like a shark, but on the land. Like, are there tigers on the east? I mean, they're in Asia, right? But here probably not. So I don't know. Like your circle, like something circling, okay? Like electron, okay? And because you don't know when hunters are going to search it. So first you go here, build here, and then, okay, maybe they got newspapers, they free, so they go early. And you are here or here, you are ready that you don't ambush with the bats, they search the bats, and then during the day you move on to yourself. More precise. You see hunters moving, you're circling around, you are here or here, maybe even here, and they move on to bats. You don't ambush. They search at night. What does it mean? What does it trigger? That you see that you will be able to move them during the day. So your night action, you hide in place, you have double encounter here or here, and then you use their day action to move onto you. You hit them with the double encounters, and then you have a night fight. And that's a lot of power, and that's especially when hunter is moving on with horse and a stake and only one weapon, that can be enough to kill a hunter. And if you have bodyguards maturing here, that's where the bats into bodyguards is so powerful, that they are staying here, they got combat, they don't have night action because they could move the day in a day during the by the bats. They get delayed through the night, and then you can dark call or feed in place for the finishing fight or maybe triggering bodyguards. And this is a very specific but actually fairly simple combo how you can try kill hunters. There is a lot of ways that can make it very disruptive, even escape routes, plant ambushes, Lucy's Revenge, lucky finds, but hunters are still delayed, battered, and spent by that a lot. And escape route is one of the things that, okay, hunter survived, but they didn't deal you anything, right? And then you can shift your strategy. You know what? You have hideout here that you can go back to lair, and then you can start layering, and you can shift through assassin to engineer, and you can start layering. What's the issue, right? Or you can stay in place and chase and try to finish off the hunter. So for Assassin Dracula, bats are paramount. I think like this simple example shows how I don't even need to say what were double encounters here. You can work that out. It can be your own imagination. But yeah, the bats alone, double encounter plus night fight, can be a lot of damage. With bodyguards, prime. The same thing works like bats in here, even bats in here, because check how you can circle around. There's a lot of good circling, and even you can circle around this way and push hunters onto you when you are here or here. So it is other for other hunters to reach, and you are next to the port, so you're fairly safe. If you're doing it here, you're next to the castle. A lot of attention because east, as you can imagine, is the prime assassin area. Also because it is prime engineer area. But not this is like not the only things. Actually, the new meta with Steward going here, Steward is very pesky hunter. He can heal a lot, but if you have bats, the hunter doesn't have time to heal. There's no room for that because they're being moved and delayed. So if Steward is starting here and you see bats and you see bodyguard and mob, if you hit Steward with mob, he is as easy to kill with damage as Helsing. And you know, Helsing is the easiest hunter being killed by damage, right? And usually Steward, like Mina, is being protected with some defensive encounters and combat events and combat events. Godalming has Lucy Revenge. So sometimes Steward can be like that pesky regenerator that when clears trail and after some fight can stand up on his feet very fast. But against assassination that is sudden, strong, and short term, like in short time span, he can be a target to kill. And you know, he's prime target to carry renewed vigors and CGs when hunters are shifting events around. So killing him can be extremely valuable. So when Steward is starting here and the whole east is open, where you can play bats, yeah, like this is one of the best locations, right? You can circle around as long as you can, but it is actually fairly well connected, but also isolated. All these spots are really good places for bats. You play bats here, and you can walk this path and be waiting when Steward goes, so you hide when he searches at night, and you move him onto yourself. And it, like, if it's Mina here or it's 2v1 here, sometimes the second hunter can jump to help or punch you through after the fights. But Steward much later gets the help. Because East is so good for both Engineer and Assassin, I usually slap Mina, come on, what am I talking about? Swap Mina and Steward, but and some players do that too. And overall I think this is the best and the safest hunter start. But mostly because Assassin Dracula is not a thing apart from me. I didn't see, didn't really like experience dedicated assassination attempts. Like sometimes, okay, walking so that hunter walks onto you. Yes, a lot of Draculas do that to seek for the opportunity to fight and kill. This is really good, but not that hard-hitting dedicated assassination attempts. And when you swap that it is Mina here, let's write over Steward. Yes. So when it's Mina here and Steward here, actually, you know, this side of the map is Mina with Helsing, right? Prime targets for assassination. So, like, set your imagination loose. But, even here, bats, you can walk around, right? Even sometimes, even you know what you can do? You can start in this location as the location without the encounter, put something, pretend you know to play normal Dracula, and you put bats in here. Helsing lands, and you're circling. You hide in place. Helsing, bam, assassination attempt, right? There are a lot of opportunities if you have a good starting hand and the new update that you know your starting hand before your starting location opens up a lot of room for creativity and assassination attempts. And once hunters start dying to assassination. They will have to adapt because assassination can be sometimes even too easy when hunters are not prepared, not thinking about it, and they will start to play slower. Move those hunters more carefully, preparing events, preparing items. If they will get slower, all other types of hunter playing will benefit from that. So this is quite important thing. England is a very fine, a very isolated and fine assassination location. You obviously can usually, you cannot just kill Helsing just moving on to him because he can go to sea and be safe, and you cannot do anything about it. But whenever you build trail, and yeah, you put bats here. This is prime location for bats. Whenever I play against Dracula with Dracula in England, I expect that this is bats, and when Dracula is smart, this is either bats or hoax, right? Or you can even put a rumor here. It is either bats or rumored vamp. And okay, if you guess incorrectly, you can either leave a premature for Dracula or lose Helsing, right? And this is a very dangerous guessing game. And that's why, again, as an assassin, it has to be mixed and not obvious because hunters don't know, do they have to go and search or should they avoid searching? Actually, when I'm talking about England, I can go back to Engineer, and because England can be really good engineering spot too. My favorite way of building as an engineer, you can do this. You can start by two ways. Either this is your first spot without the encounter, and you go misdirect, go back, or this is first spot without the encounter, and you go, and it just makes so that you go back either earlier or later. But basically, the idea is you go here, go here, go here, go here, hide, wolf, form, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I just counted 6. So on the 7th move, you can go here. And this is a plan that you can make. Remember, you are never afraid of fights 1v1, week 1, week 2, week 3, or week 4. You are never afraid of fighting 1v1. So this is a plan that you will form here, and you don't care if Helsing is here or not. And you can build that trail in numerous ways. You can open with a spy. This is small city. Great. You can place fighter vampire in here, and don't really plan to mature it. You just plan to go back and put more fighter vampires. And you can place here bats to make a trap for Helsing. Or you can play aristocratic vampire, and you will just clear this, this, and this. And this is really good clear because you just cleared hide and maybe location without encounter because Helsing is here, right? Or a hoax, or a soil. Like there's a lot of room for creativity. And the thing is that it can be really flexible. You can almost start this regardless of your starting hand and adapt to it and build something. With soils, you try to fight more. With bats, you try maybe to do some assassination attempt. With hoax aristocratics, maybe you delay hunters, maybe you mature, maybe hunters will be afraid to search because it's only Helsing week 1, right? And then you go back and you have lure and lure. And sometimes you can even hide here, sometimes you can feed here, and you can have really awesome some really awesome route. And again, depending on your encounters and hunter behavior, this can be like spy, fighter, vampire. Maybe Helsing doesn't hold to that and stops searching. So this is hoax into aristocratic, or maybe maybe there's a bat somewhere, so you can move Helsing and do some juicy stuff. What more to say? What more to say? Assassin, engineer, building, clearing, danger. Lots and lots of danger. Let's clear it. I hope. Wait, what? Why am I clearing everything? How does it work? Oh no. Oh no. Okay, this is prime time to start to finish video. This is all according to plan, by the way. I just said everything I planned to say. Okay, I think it's work, but I cannot. Okay. Yes, it was all according to plan. I just said everything according to my notes. I extended my notes for now. Just going back. You need to experience, you need to experiment, you need to be creative. If you just listen to me and just do only the things I do, you know what? Probably those pesky hunters are listening to. They're lazy. They just, put my video, listening and flying somewhere, not doing much. This is the easiest job for them to do. So you need to be a little bit creative. You know what? I know. I'll show you something little tricky. I know you're paying attention, but hunters just listening and not watching and supplying. So check this out. Hop, hop. Haha. That's a tricky one. Not really good one. Very hard to pull off. I tried it a few times, worked once, but food for thought. Food for thought. Spencer Wolfhard, actually, he did the impossible. I thought that doing lair strategy in the middle is bad idea, just because hunters can walk through all directions, can be flexible, can kill you, can shift around. Building lairs in the extremity like here or here is good because one or two hunters try, they expand and they out of steam, so you have some time. But in the middle, they can do shifts. One gets battered, heals up in the time when the other heal other stuff, gets battered and expanded. But by the time the hunters that started, they back in strength, they can continue clearing and all of that. But actually, Spencer Wolfhard, I don't know why. It would be very awesome if he was able to do some thoughts or some breakdown of his strategy. I never tried it myself yet to do lair strategy in the middle, but he did it. He won multiple games. He actually battered my ass. I lost against his gameplay when he built lairs in the very middle of the continent, and that's funny. Yeah, you can do stuff. You can do stuff. You can try. There are some paths where you can seek the 7 steps. When the 7th step works on the first step, the first, and you look on some uncomfortable chains, like here, obviously everything here, maybe here and not uncomfortable. As I mentioned, here, obviously Spain. When Spain's open, this is such a game. You can do a lot of stuff. You can watch my videos. I have multiple videos with building Engineer Dracula, multiple videos with Assassin Dracula, and almost every video with me tracking Hunter's strength, which is paramount to that. If you are not able to track Hunter's strength and say, now Hunters are weak or not very strong, and I can safely, without a problem, build lairs, and I know they're weak. I know they cannot fight me, so I don't need much damage stuff. I build lair with, let's say, spy, hoax, and I don't know, soil or something, right? Or even saboteur, just to extra delay hunters. They go for the saboteur and they need to get delayed to get through the hoax, and there are other lairs moving onto the trail. Or I know hunters are sniffing. I know hunters don't have stakes, so they don't want to wait for the moment where my lairs start maturing. They want to kill me before that. I built some extra nasty, spicy double mob wolf lairs, or something tingling, something juicy, right? And I expect them to jump, and I expect to fight, and hope that it will be more costly for them than for me. And then my soul matures, I feed in place, or I go to the castle. 100 is dead, 200 is expanded. I'm back full at health, right? But the things that I mentioned before, if you are assassin, if you're an engineer, you need to be brave. You cannot be like wimpy, hiding in the corners, and unless you evaluate that hunter's a top-notch strength, then yeah, sometimes you need to wimp. Sometimes you need to hide in a corner. Okay, that was a lot of talk. That is a lot of talk, almost 2 hours. I hope this was more useful than doing some, for example, encounter tier list, or I don't know, Dracula events tier list, which doesn't matter because you don't mature hoaxes, and if you do, they pick pick Unearthly Sweetness, Darkness Returns, Emmanuel Hildeshim, and Wild Horses. Wild Horses is good now. ECS tier, by the way. So pick one of those four. Yeah. But it would be cool if you would be able to like adapt, learn, and maybe bring something new. Because there's still a lot. I see ways not really explored by Draculas that much. There are some areas, but I will not talk. And I will leave this as a little bit of a teaser that people will say, like, please, Kaczak, talk about those ways. We can't stop listening to you. We're addicted. No, okay. That's enough. Okay. Again, I hope you liked it. If you have questions, comments, obviously reach me out. I don't really care that much about YouTube fame. As you could see, you can reach me out on Discord. You can reach me out anywhere. And more importantly, I feel personally the best ways to talk about improvement and about the game and Dracula experiments. You can guys record your Dracula gameplay, send videos to me, and I will do videos when I watch over it and comment it. And we can talk about what maybe was a bad play, what was interesting play, what was good exploration, and go through that experience and revelation process together. That could be cool. Whenever someone will reach to me with some recorded Dracula gameplay, I will always try to find time to review it and post video about it. So yeah, I hope you liked it. I hope it will allow you to kill some hunters because there's too many alive hunters around. And I hope you have a good night.